Holy crap. I almost thought I was going to have some technical problems like I did with the season 1 review. Well, remember that? Whew. Okay. MASH. Me and season 1 weren't the best of friends. We weren't like all hunky-dory homies. You know what I mean? He hated it. Well, probably his least favorite season he ever reviewed on the channel. Thank you, Bimmy, for that introduction. Oh, yeah, no problem, bro. Always here to lend a helping paw. Is that what you call this thing? Now, admittedly, me really not disliking season 1 wasn't part of why it took me so long to do a season 2 review. For a little bit, it wasn't even on Disney Plus, which is like where I watched season 1 and now I've watched season 2. But miraculously, it's back on Disney Plus, and yeah, I do try. When I start a show, I do intend to finish it. Only show I haven't been able to finish was Earliest to Continue. It was with Brack Show. That's been permanently off HBO Max, so I can't really do anything. And I can't really watch it anywhere else. So nothing I can do about that one. No. Why the hell do I keep talking? We get it. It took me a year to get to season 2. Now let's actually hear me talk about these episodes. God damn it. 1. Divided We Stand. Someone's brought in to see if Henry's group is worth keeping around. We get a 3 out of 5 as our premiere. You know what? Already, I like this more than a majority of season 1. It's pretty basic, both story-wise and just everything-wise. It almost kind of feels like a reintroduction. Like, hey, probably been a couple months since season 1 wrapped up. Here's like a reintroduction to the show, pretty much, and especially coming from someone who took a year to finally watch season 2. Well, it's nice to know that like I get a reintroduction and all that. I get to remember how Hawkeye and Trapper kind of felt like the same character and are kind of annoying. Frank is also annoying, but because he's so bossy, he also has this love interest girl because we need a woman in the cast. And also there's Klinger, who, spoiler alert, he shows up way more in this season compared to season 1. I barely even forgot he existed, but yeah, no, he becomes they try to make him more of a star in this season, which I'll see more of my thoughts on that in a little bit. Overall, though, for a season premiere, it's very middle of the road. Not much to comment on about it. But hey, considering, again, I like it more than a majority of season 1, though, because, well, season 1 was season 1. You can watch my review of season 1 if you really want to know why I'm treating it like a September freaking 11th, though. Which is funny, because this is about the Korean War, and that's also a tragedy, and I'll just keep moving. 5 o'clock Charlie. When an enemy pilot keeps showing up and doing poorly, Henry's division gets guns. Not a lot to say about this one either. 3 out of 5. This one is pretty much just Frank going mad with power over this 5 o'clock Charlie guy. Both him freaking out about it initially, but then eventually just when they get guns, he becomes very overprotective about it. The episode's kind of here to show, like, that Frank is very much a control freak and all that. And that's fine. The idea isn't bad, and it's kind of memorable how, like, the 5 o'clock guy can't even do his job that well. He always ends up missing. Makes you wonder what the hell is the point in him existing in the first place. But hey, at least he shoots the little thing they're driving in at the end. Those military cars. I actually not even fully sure what they're called. Here, actually, I'm going to look it up real quick because I don't want to feel stupid in a review. It's review number 69. I got to make it special, Humvee is what I think it's called. Yes, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Yeah, a Humvee gets destroyed, and that's a whole situation. Mid-tier episode. 3, Radar's report. Radar writes a report about what's been going on at the station. Mediocre, 2 out of 5. Boy, I remember when watching season 1, having to watch the episode Dear Dad and then Dear Dad 2. Or, no, it wasn't even called that. It was called Dear Dad again. Like, even they knew they were doing this premise twice in the same freaking season. This one's kind of like that, though they do try to have a bit of a story going on with, like, stuff like having stuff like Hawkeye, like, not wanting to date this girl who's married, which at least makes Hawkeye better than most of the dudes, like Trapper, Frank, Henry. They all totally get with the women despite all having wives, by the way. So they at least try to have a bit of a story here. But still, a lot of it does feel like it's trying, again, just to be a series of random vignettes. And again, as someone who still doesn't find the show funny, like, at all, very rarely does it get a genuine laugh out of me. Most of the time, it's a smile or a chuckle. Occasionally, again, I haven't even liked any of these episodes in the season yet. An episode like this really doesn't do much for me. Mediocre. 4, for the good of the outfit. Hawkeye and Trapper try to get an investigation to help a village. I don't have much. 3 out of 5. See, this already, I'm like, not. I still have like 20 episodes left to go, and already I think I'm seeing a problem with me even trying to cover these episodes, and that they all blend together. This episode tries to show Hawkeye and Trapper in a bit more of a positive light, them trying to like help out this village. We're trying to get some reports on it and all that. But again, the episode's mostly just boring because, again, I don't really care about this village. We kind of just get introduced to it. And when the characters I'm watching on the screen I don't really find that funny, again, I'm just bored. Like, nothing really goes on. In the end, I'm pretty sure they get the investigation because, the good guys win, the bad guys lose. But again, it's just such a boring episode. Again, I literally didn't watch it that long ago for this review, and already I'm forgetting a lot about what even happened because these episodes just aren't that memorable. Mid-tier episode, it's watchable enough, but again, even now, by the time I even get to a review of it, I barely even remember what the hell is going on. 5, Dr. Pierce and Mr. Hyde. Hawkeye can't sleep and slowly turns insane from the war. I actually like this one. 4 out of 5. What? You like a season 1? Okay, Bimmy confronting Z-Man take 2. What? You like a MASH episode? You hate that show. Well, if you remember from my season 1 review, there were like 2 episodes in there I liked. So me liking a MASH episode isn't like a first. Besides, again, this episode proves what MASH can do when it works well. I think one of the problems I have with the show is that everything comes off as so damn depressing. I know it's a show about the Korean War, so it's not supposed to be like a real comedy, but as someone who already like has depression and always gets sad about things, I don't need to watch a show that reminds me about just how depressing the concept of war is, especially since I don't even agree in war as a premise. But an episode like this, I think, does a better job of trying it. Taking a fun lover like Hawkeye and seeing him genuinely go mad actually makes me feel kind of bad for the guy. I mean, don't get me wrong, Hawkeye's still kind of a creep and still isn't a character I like that much, but seeing him genuinely go mad over something like this was pretty understandable, as it really as it happens to a lot of people. When you're put in situations like this for long periods of time that aren't enjoyable. Genuinely was surprised by how much I liked this one. Still not that funny, but hey, at least I actually kind of liked the story of this one. It's a well-written episode, and I definitely like it a lot. Good work. 6, Kim. The crew bond with a 5-year-old Korean child. This one is another 4 out of 5. Okay, this is new. Back-to-back good episodes for freaking MASH. That's very surprising, but very much welcome. Yeah, I like this one as well. It actually reminds me of one of the 2 good episodes in season 1, which was The Moose. That episode was also about them helping a Korean woman. Well, that one was about the concept of slavery. This one's more so about them just wanting to help a child who doesn't have parents. In particular, I think Trapper really stood out as a very good character in this episode. Easily my favorite Trapper stuff, just in general from the show. Because again, before this point, Trapper wasn't really much of, well, anything. Again, him and Hawkeye kind of blend together to me. Hawkeye is just more memorable because he's objectively more of a main character. So seeing Trapper genuinely want to adopt her, even though he already has some kids back home, is very interesting. And just a deep down Trapper, even though he also can be a fun loving guy and all that, also has a soft side. Definitely another good episode. Admittedly, you feel bad for the status quo ending. We're of course not going to keep Kim past this episode. But hey, just for a one-off thing, I was still able to enjoy the ride and really get the feels. Even if Frank is kind of a douche for being jealous of Cam, but at least it was a little funny. 7. LIP, Local Indigenous Personnel. A soldier is almost leaving but wants to marry a Korean woman, causing controversy. Alrighty, this one's a 3 out of 5. This is what I meant about that For Good of the Outfits episode, where it's like a lot of these things blend in. Because this one almost feels exactly like that one, despite only having 2 episodes in between. This one's another one about Hawkeye and Trapper not wanting to stand with the big corporate big government, and trying to help prove what's right. And it's like, even though I agree with the message, it's like they do it in such a boring and bland way. I don't want to watch your episode. Again, it exists, and it's still better than a lot of the shit that was of season 1, but still not that well written of an episode. It's there, I guess. Again, if it was soldier was a character I knew or was invested in, or I really got to see their romance, I might get more into it. But because it's all introduced right in this episode, and we never really see them again, I can't really get into it. 8. The Trial of Henry Blake. Henry and Radar have to explain what their base gets up to, which causes Henry to be put under arrest. This one's freaking weird. It's a 2 out of 5, and honestly, it was almost ended up being a 1, but yeah, at least it's memorable, so I'll give it that. What do I even have to say about this episode? Well, the first half is another just freaking series of vignettes, an excuse to just have a random clips, which again, when you don't find the show that funny, it's not really that good. I will give it credit though. I think what doesn't bring this to a 1 is that some of these vignettes are actually kind of decent. And not enough to where I'd call them downright funny, but they were kind of interesting. Like the race, or even Klinger wanting to fly out of the army, which is one of the few times I actually enjoyed watching a Klinger scene. Again, I'll get to him later. So yeah, the first half wasn't bad, and I was thinking, hey, maybe this keeps up. Maybe this will be a high 3, and maybe if it gets up a funnier, maybe a 4. But then the second half drags this thing down to a low 2. For some reason, the episode switches format midway through and is now more of an actual story about Blake being put under arrest for all the goofy shenanigans the 4077 gets up to. And it's like, wowee, is Frank and the Hot Lips going to stop Henry? And then Hawkeye and Trapper are going to be like, no way, dude. We're Hawkeye and Trapper. We got to save the day. Because we're good-natured rebels. And it's like, yeah, it was just boring and not that interesting. And you already know Henry is going to, is not going to be arrested because he's the main character. The first half, again, keeps it from being truly bad. And I'll give it this. At least I can remember this one. Unlike some of the other episodes of the season where I already forgot what even went on in them. But yeah, still a mediocre ass episode. Don't get it wrong. Or misunderstood, 9. Dear Dad 3. Hawkeye writes his dad a 3rd time. And to reiterate, he In the Google Doc, he screamed a third time. It was in all caps. So dramatic. No, I'm really not. Because you already had Dear Dad 1 and again in season 1. Why do you need a third one? It's a 2 out of 5. Most of it wasn't funny. It's there. Most of it is like. To give it credit, there was one part I kind of liked, which was when Henry was showing Hawkeye and Trapper scenes of like Henry's life. That part had the occasional chuckle-worthy moment, and it was actually kind of beautiful. Almost kind of watched me an episode around that instead of just doing another freaking Dear Dad episode. I don't get it. Is this like really that important? Or is it such a good premise that you're like, hey, let's do a third one? I don't care if we had 2 last season. Yeah, mediocre episode. Really brought up by that one moment. That one moment put it above that Radar Report episode because, again, they essentially kind of felt like the same thing. 10. The Sniper. A sniper attacks the base. 1 out of 5. Kind of low-key shocked me to wait till episode 10 before we got another truly bad MASH episode, but dear lord, it is definitely down there as one of their worst. This episode once again proves why Frank sucks. Like, Hawkeye and Trapper suck in their own way, but, like, Frank is just the worst. It almost feels like when making this season, they wanted Hawkeye and Trapper to seem more likable, so their more promiscuous activity is given less focus, and instead we get more screen time of Frank just being the absolute worst, which isn't funny to me because Frank doesn't even work as a funny villain, like Eric Cartman or Roger from American Dad. He's just annoying. I don't want to deal with this dude. He's a pussy, and Hawkeye has to save the day anyway. Again, just boring, uninteresting, really the average things you could say about a MASH episode, but pumped up to 100, so it makes it truly bad. MASH is one of the only shows I could think of where I want to give episodes low ratings because they're so boring it actively makes me want to not recommend you watch the episode. It's just bad. 11. Carry on, Hawkeye. Everyone is sick, and it's up to Hawkeye and Margaret to help them. Just my luck. Back-to-back 1 out of 5s. I guess they're really trying to make up for the fact that we had none for the first 9 episodes. Hawkeye, fake simps for Margaret, and it's only just them because everyone else has a gold. It's a dynamic I don't like seeing stretched out to a ton of the runtime. Hawkeye said he wanted a needle up his ass. That was at least something. That's the big takeaway from this episode. But otherwise, yeah, kind of just annoying, and a little creepy, and not worth your time. Bad episode. 12. The Incubator. Hawkeye and Trapper wake up from an extreme party and try to get an incubator. This one is a 2 out of 5. Now, I know what you may ask. Z-Man, why are you trying to do... Why did you put like the extreme party stuff at the beginning and then have the incubator part at the end? Well, that's because the extreme party stuff is what this episode should have been about. Instead, the episode is just the whole extreme party thing is really more of an opening bit. It's not really much of anything. It doesn't really go anywhere. It's really mostly about Hawkeye and Trapper just trying to get an incubator, but then, like, surprise, surprise, it doesn't really work out that well. The joke is just that it's difficult for army people to get supplies, and I mean, it's fine. But fine to me mediocre. It's so boring. Please end the episode. But, it's fine. Shocked I'm only like roughly 20-ish minutes into the review, but that's because, again, a lot of these episodes I feel like really speak for themselves in terms of just the pure boredom. Boredom can sometimes be worse than mediocrity because at least with like anger and all that, you have something to say. But with something like this, where I find majority of these episodes just boring, there's very little to talk about. 13, deal me out. The crew play cards with military officials. I apologize. Meanwhile, they have to help a Korean man that the radar accidentally ran over. 3 out of 5. Surprisingly watchable, which in a season as not good as this comes off as one of the better episodes. The Korean dude being a faker was mildly funny, and also Radar's total reaction to it. Radar's probably my favorite character, only because he seems like he's one of the few characters who genuinely seems like a good guy through and through. No promiscuity, none of that, and not being annoying bullcrap like Frank or Hot Lips. He's all around just a chill dude, and it makes him my favorite one. He's the Smithers to Henry's Mr. Burns, if you will, but surprisingly a more healthy dynamic. Don't have a lot to say about this episode, though, aside from that. So I guess this will be the time where I bring up Klinger, because he shows up a decent amount in this episode, and I get to talk about why I don't like Klinger. Feels like, especially in this first half, almost every episode has Klinger. And the joke is the goddamn same. Klinger is dressing like a woman pretty much 24/7 because he wants to get out of the war. And the joke is that, man, isn't it weird that a man's dressing like a woman? And it's never funny. Well, it's very rarely, if ever, funny. It's really just annoying. I know it's a 70s show trying to make fun of like a that like 50s time period. So of course this type of topic wasn't handled that well. But even as a joke, even ignoring like any potential trans thing going on here, it's just annoying. Like you're just repeating the same joke over and over again. That's Klinger's only role in the show, to be the same unfunny joke. It makes me not even want to bother with him on screen because he doesn't add anything else. Other than that, though, this is a watchable episode, but still pretty unremarkable. But still one of the better ones of season 2, which really speaks a lot to how much I am not enjoying this season. Really thought things would change after season 1, but I guess I was wrong. 14, hot lips and empty arms. Margaret decides to transfer and gets drunk on her last day. 2 out of 5. It's just Margaret getting drunk. She says she'll quit, but then she just gets drunk and then doesn't quit. Not even worth much discussion. Mostly just boring, mediocre episode. 15, officers only. Hawkeye and Trapper go to Tokyo. The countdown begins in Tokyo. Bonus points if you know that song. You are awesome if you know the song. And Frank gets his revenge by making a club for officers only. That's like the name of the episode. Yes, that was the whole point of that bit. 3 out of 5. One thing I'll say is cool is that after this episode, they actually do decide to keep this place around as a recurring location, which, you know what, is actually kind of cool. I like that we just have a new hub that we can vibe in. Hey, it gives one more piece of scenery to a show that takes place in the same central location for most of the runtime. Other than that, it's another one that's on the perfectly fine card, watchable enough. Of course, we don't actually get to see Hawkeye or Trapper's time in Tokyo because that sounds like a better episode than what we actually got. It's fine. It's watchable. 16, Henry in love. Henry falls in love with a 20-year-old girl. It's a 3 out of 5. Henry's probably a close second after Radar in terms of best characters. But again, him doing stuff like this does not make him look good because, he has a effing wife. The show acts like it's not a big deal. Like, at most, they make a couple of jokes about Henry already being married, but, like, come the fuck on. Still, though, because it is about a character like Henry, who I don't really mind watching for long periods of time, him really trying to look impressive for the girl is kind of fun. And for once, I actually kind of like the Hawkeye and Trapper kind of just give him shit the whole episode, because at least here, he kind of deserves that. Dude, you're like in your 40s. Maybe is a little creepy. I know. Once you're an adult, age is just a number. comparing it to other adults, but still, there's like a sense. It can still get kind of weird, and especially for someone like me who like kind of cares about that sort of thing. But yeah, it's still perfectly watchable. The girl, of course, by the end, Henry and the girl don't really do anything because she's a gold digger, or at the very least, she switches her options constantly because she wants to be with Hawkeye. It's watchable enough. 17 for want of a boot. Hawkeye and Trapper go through a ton of people's problems to get a boot. Basically, it's like that one Ed and Nettie episode, which is like that one Garfield and Friends episode. Or by Garfield and Friends, I mean U.S. Acres. And also that one Chowder episode. I know this is well before any of that, but still, it's an episode type I've seen before, and it's an episode type I don't really like. It's a 2 out of 5. I never like these kind of plots usually. I think the problem I have with them is that the whole episode is just people being like, "I want this, but you gotta give me that." Like, dude, be a good guy and just give them something out of the goodness of your heart. Or like, geez. So yeah, I never like these types of stories anyway. But it being with the MASH cast, a cast of characters I don't even like that much. Yeah, mediocre episode. The joke question mark is that they're doing all this so Hawkeye can get a new boot because it's cold and he has a hole in his boot. So yeah, mediocre episode. 18 Operation Nose Lift. Hawkeye and Trapper help a soldier with a big nose. I don't have much to say about this one. 2 out of 5. They do it illegally, so Frank's like, "Are you guys helping someone get a nose job?" And they're like, "No, man, we ain't doing that. We're Hawkeye and Trapper, the good-natured rebels." It's a mediocre episode. Honestly, I didn't think the nose was that bad, okay? I don't know what this soldier was on about, thinking it was like a horrible thing. Dude, you are who you are. Things like physical attributes, I don't even think you should really need to change that badly. Jokes about like Jewish people having big noses and all that were never really jokes I find that funny in the first place, or at least it very rarely work for me. Because I don't know, dude, God made you the way you were for like what you want. What am I saying? I'm sorry. Okay, what I'm trying to say is that like body parts, they were kind of just made. Even if you're like an atheist and all that, you still gotta at least accept yourself and your body and all that. Body positivity is something I very much agree with, and just stuff like a surgery, I don't think you need it. Why am I talking about this and not the episode? Because the episode's a general mediocre mashed episode, and I have nothing to talk about. So I think this is honestly more interesting than even trying to dig into the episode. It's there. I'm gonna take another drink break because again, I have a horrible voice and I always mess things up. So I gotta get a drink to make me sound more proper. Well, man, all I talk about body positivity just for you to talk about how annoying your voice is. Oh, is my voice not that bad? Didn't say that. Oh, okay. Thanks, Bemmy. Looked freaking like a dumbass having to put you on and all that, but no, okay. You just came here to call me a dumbass, okay. 19, The Chosen People. A Korean family claims that the spot where the 4077 is actually their land. Meanwhile, everyone thinks Radar has a baby. Finally, a good episode. 4 out of 5. Not anything mind-blowing, but you know what? I actually kind of like this one. The idea was interesting enough. The idea that the crew have to quit. Like, again, it's another no-shit situation where, yeah, we still have, like, what, the rest of this season, plus 9 more after this one. Yeah, I don't think the 477 is going to split. But that's just my thoughts. Still, though, the ride there was actually fun. And again, as someone who really does like, who, is okay with Radar, he's like, again, probably my favorite character on the show. Seeing more of him is never a bad thing for me, especially seeing someone like him who's the show jokes about being a virgin a lot. The idea of him having a baby is honestly kind of funny. It almost reminds me a lot of Trapper during the Chem episode, which is kind of copying, but when I like both the episodes in question, I don't honestly mind that much. So yeah, another good episode. I actually recommend this one. So that's always good to hear about, especially with a show like this. 20, as you were. The crew have no patience until they finally get some before operating on Frank. 3 out of 5. I don't. This one screams pointless to me. Total filler episode. It's kind of like that trial episode where the first and second half are like totally different. This one's definitely more watchable than that one, but still on the lower end of a 3. Like, why is the first half about them not having patience? Before then, the second half, it's like, oh, we all have patience, but like Frank needs some operation, so it messes things up. Is that the joke? Because if we made a whole 20-minute episode for one joke, then it's not funny. Hawkeye and Trapper wear gorilla masks. That's like the peak of this episode. 21, a crisis. The 4077 has to deal with a horrible cold and fewer resources. 1 out of 5. A show that already feels depressing to watch makes an episode about them being more depressed because, no resources. You kind of need that. Just a bad episode, honestly. It's just depressing and sad, and having to see them work it out. Like, I already don't like being in those kinds of situations, and watching like these people in a war have to deal with it isn't much funnier. Oh yeah, we also get more jokes about Klinger being a woman in this one. There are in way more episodes than the ones I'm talking about, but like I'm not even bothering talking about them all because it's really not worth it. 22, George. Hawkeye helps a soldier who's gay. Damn, didn't think MASH would make the freaking gay episode, but here we are. 3 out of 5. I'm straight. I try to be an ally, but at the end of the day, I'm straight, so I'm not going to lie and act like I know what the hell I'm talking about with this type of thing. It's a 3 out of 5, though. It's watchable enough. Maybe it's because it's about them genuinely standing up for homophobia, which is a more common topic than let's get a freaking incubator, but I actually thought this was another one of the more watchable episodes. Frank, though, is homophobic, which is another part of him being just generally the worst person. He might be my new least favorite character. He was annoying in season 1, but it feels like in this season they've made him even worse. I just want this dude gone. So, yeah, it's a fine episode, though, regardless of that. 23, a mail call. The 4077 out to deal with their mail. The spiritual successor to those Dear Dad episodes. It's a 2 out of 5. Very boring. Again, it feels like total filler episode. Why even make this kind of episode? I don't know. I don't know why so many damn episodes be about freaking vignettes. The vignette episodes aren't even funny because, again, the show is not funny. Oh my god. And they do it so much because they have 24 episodes to fill and they don't have a ton of ideas for all of them. So it's like, hey, let's just do episodes that are just like, hey, a series of bits, man. I'm so funny. 24, the final episode, a smattering of intelligence. People are brought in to handle a spy within the 4077. We end with a 3 out of 5. The main joke of this one is that it's just spies. Like, the joke is that the spies are ruining everything and they're acting so secretive and cool when really they're just dumb. That's it. That's the joke. And it's a 3 out of 5. It's not that good. Still pretty boring. But it's still in the top 10 of the season because fuck MASH season 2. Well, pretty sure you had to see my finger there. Sorry about that. I had to just look into some things. Anyway, I promise it's not porn. Anyways, Here's the overall season 2 list. With the 1 out of 5s, we have Carry On Hawkeye, The Sniper, and Crisis. For the 2s, we have The Trial of Henry Blake, Mail Call, The Incubator, Hot Lips and Empty Arms, For Want of a Boot, Radar's Report, Dear Dad 3, and Operation Noselift. Then for the 3 out of 5s, we have As You Were, LIP, Local Indigenous Personnel, For the Good of the Outfit, A Smattering of Intelligence, Officers Only, 5 O'Clock Charlie, Divided We Stand, George, Henry in Love, and Deal Me Out. And now the top 3, the holy 3 of, hey, I actually like these ones. We have The Chosen People, Kim, and Dr. Pierce and Mr. Hyde, purely for the story and how it handles Hawkeye. I think deserves a title of Best Episode, though. I like all these 3 roughly about the same, so you can change them in any order, and honestly, I wouldn't complain too much. So season 2 of MASH, and it was the greatest thing ever made. Why would I lie to you guys? That's such a dick move on my part. Yeah, no, season 2 is roughly about the same amount of quality as season 1 to me. I will say, though, I slightly, ever so slightly, prefer season 2 over season 1. Season 1 had 5 1 out of 5s. This one only had 3. And this one had 3 4s, while season 1 only had 2 4s. So, like, by ever so much, I prefer season 2, but it really felt the same. All of the problems from season 1 stuck around. The show is not funny. I couldn't give less of a crap about the characters. And it's just depressing to watch. Again, I understand that's probably the intention of the show, to show how bad war is and all that. But as someone who already knows this message and already doesn't agree with that type of thing, that doesn't agree with the concept of war and all that, I mean, gotta say it like that to make me sound good. I don't care. I don't want to watch a whole show about this when I'm already very much aware that the war and this type of thing is not good. So yeah, I really need to show it to like pro-war people, honestly. So show them some freaking MASH. But yeah, all in all, still not that good of a season of television in my opinion. I really truly hope that season 3 will not be this bad. But I also hope it won't take me like a little over a year to watch to get to season 3, because that was pretty embarrassing on my part as well. With that, thank you guys for watching, and yeah, hopefully next thing I review won't have to be this bad, but MASH is probably the worst thing I'm currently reviewing right now, so you know what, MASH, you at least got that going for you.